Guys, this is just a short video on science and technology as a whole. We do know that the advancement with research for science technology has improved our medical area infrastructure and also manufacturing, transport, just to name a few. For today, for this video, we'll actually just be looking into transport a bit, um, relating just to electric powered vehicles, EVs for short. We do know that over the years, advancement has taken place with regards to all this, where we have seen where there's been great developments, where there has actually been electronic vehicles placed into mass production due to its benefits with regards to the reduction in CO2 emissions. We do see research has been carried out that it does help with the emission reduction due to the fact that it's using electric powered motors instead of petrol or natural gas based combustion engines to power these vehicles to provide the transport that we do need. We do know that the EU has released a report in 2017 about its effect on emissions, and that 30% of their CO2 emissions does come from the transportation section, where 72% of that 32% is basically road based transport, which is mostly motor vehicles that are used mostly by persons who travel from home to work and vice versa and do their basic transport. Um, well, we do know that EV technology is not relatively new, but advancement has brought in where now cars are able to travel. The ones that are in production now, global production, where anyone in the world can actually own one, is actually at around 373 miles on a single charge. We do understand that these vehicles have to be charged, and charging time may range from a minimum of say around 3 hours to around 8 hours, depending on the type of charger that you're using and how quickly that battery that is used to power that vehicle takes to charge. We do know that many manufacturers are actually in this, and new startups are the ones who are actually at the forefront, such as Tesla and another new one, Rivian, which is actually producing its first van in 2020. Um, Tesla has been at the forefront of this, where they have made most of the full electronic vehicles that are actually within mass production in the US and around the world, that many global entities or government entities have taken a liking to, are actually putting in subsidiaries for persons to actually own one, although the costs are relatively high. Um, this is actually very good for the environment. We do know that persons have an issue with regards to how these are produced, and are saying that it's still in the long run not very good for the environment, because of the ill effects that it will cause in the future with regards to the depletion of lithium ions, which are used to produce the lithium batteries that they do use in these vehicles, and that these minerals are hardly found anywhere in the world. However, for the current effect that we're feeling across, such as global warming, is based on the CO2 emission, which globally they're trying to reduce that CO2 emissions by 2030 to around zero emissions globally for CO2, which will be a significant change with regards to us on a whole as the human race, which will make it better for us. EVs, we do know that many places in the world might not have the infrastructure to support it. However, their infrastructure is being put in place to support these types of vehicles, so that we can ensure that we can gain the benefits of which it will actually range from over the period of time that we will be using it for. As stated before, the production does cause some emission. However, during its lifetime, it does get that emission level down to zero. So the amount of emission it does release, based on its usage or lifespan usage of that vehicle, and the CO2 emission that's emitted from the way in which how we produce electricity. We do know that currently we are using coal-based, natural gas-based, fossil fuels, and nuclear, also solar and other renewable resources, which they're trying to limit so that we can use less of the fossil fuels and the natural gas, which releases CO2 emission, to power these vehicles as well, and to power these plants that they do generate electricity, to ensure that we can continue to power these on a whole. As I see, there are minimal effects that may come off using these electric EV vehicles. The benefits greatly outweigh the negative effects based on the research that has been done, and we can see a lot of improvement with regards to all this over the usage of these vehicles on a whole, which would be beneficial to the human race.